And just to pick one not quite at random, I'll mention Dean Rockwell, Lieutenant, U.S. Navy, Dean Rockwell, and I pick him in part because of the role that he had at D-Day, but also because he left behind a very extensive, not only personal memoir, but he collected the subordinate reports from the ensigns who drove his landing craft, LCTs, landing craft tank, very small boats that could carry about 5 tanks into the beach. And as part of the idea of getting armor onto the beach early to support the infantry in the first wave if possible, they created something called the duplex drive tank. DD tank is what they called them. And these were essentially tanks that had a kind of a Mae West jacket on, of water wings, that would inflate when they went into the water, and they were supposed to be able to launch from 3 miles off the beach and go into the beach under their own power. A little propeller at the back of the water wings would drive them into the beach, but of course the weather was very bad on the 6th of June, not as bad as on the 5th when it was postponed to the 6th, but it remained pretty choppy. And so Dean Rockwell was taking 16 tanks in 10 LCTs in toward the beach, and his orders were to launch those tanks from 3 miles out. And he looked at that water and he talked with the tank drivers and he said, this is not going to work. And took them instead all the way into the beach at great personal risk. Now what's interesting about that story in part is that one group of those LCTs, similarly packaged with DD tanks, did not make that decision, and 15 of those 16 went straight to the bottom with most of the men still inside the tank. So you think about the decisions to land at Normandy, to all the huge strategic pressures on those who made the great decisions, and yet here's a former high school history teacher and football coach 3 miles off the beach who makes a decisive decision because of the he looks at the water and says, this is not going to work, I'm going to have to change my orders and behave differently. And those are the people in the end, those lieutenants and junior grade and so forth, who make these decisions, infinite number of these decisions on the day that made that invasion possible.